Hey everybody, I am AR Mar, and what I watched today is Book 3, Chapter 15 of Avatar The Last Airbender, The Boiling Rock, Part 2. We picked this up pretty much right where we left off last episode, with the new prisoners arriving, including Sokka's father. And right away the warden starts giving a speech to the new arrivals. Sokka arriving just in time to watch this. You know, it's the usual, if you obey me and follow all of my rules, you will have a easy time of it here at my prison, yes. He tries to make an example of Sokka's father and fails miserably. As, well, he's a blowhard and Sokka's dad is a battle-hardened warrior. He even manages to trip on the dad's shackles, though it's also implied that there was a little bit of subtle wrist movement in there. Of course, you know, he looked like a fool if he actually tried to make it like that was a big deal. Anyhow, later, Sokka sneaks into his dad's cell, almost getting punched as he forgets again, like Suki, to identify himself. And he lays out what's happening to his dad, including the revelation that Zuko is on their side now. He relays the plan to Zuko as well, and it's apparently a plan that him and his dad came up with. Zuko is then dragged off by guards and thrown into a cell with none other than May. Meanwhile, the prisoner that tried to escape with them last episode is being interrogated by the warden, and he doesn't hold up very long under the pressure. May and Zuko have a bit of a talk at this point, and Zuko, you know, he's trying to explain. It's like, no, I do still love you, May. It's not about you. I'm doing this for other reasons, to try and save the Fire Nation, to redeem us. Like, he's not very good at communicating it, and May's just in that kind of, I don't want to hear it mode, because, yeah, he hurt her bad. And he's one of the few things she really cares about. So it's really it's really a great scene there, just seeing, like, you know, the woman scorned. And then we go over to Suki, practicing her combat in her narrow cell, ever the warrior. And it is an awesome little moment of just her practicing, like, you know, staying sharp and trying to be better than she was before. And Sokka, you know, slips into there and tells her what's going on. And then as he's leaving her cell, he's taken before the warden by some guards. And there's a whole lineup here of, I'm guessing, all the newer guards on the island. And the prisoner is told to point out which of them is the imposter that came up with the escape plan. In an act of thieves' honor, he fingers someone other than Sokka, fingering the guard that was being abusive to him last episode. So it's a little moment of revenge there. And in the next scene, we find out Azula and Ty Lee are here with May. Azula giving the warden a nice shock as he turns around and goes, "Who dares interrupt me? Princess Azula!" It's a funny moment, and it's just that kind of... You can see the fear Azula inspires in people. As things progress, Sokka tricks a guard into letting all the prisoners out into the yard before meeting up with his dad and Suki. They have a bit of trouble starting a riot at first because, well, of some kind of funny circumstances, including a huge prisoner who is trying to learn to control his anger. But, you know, the prisoner from before comes up and goes, "Hey, you owe me because I didn't rat you out. I know you're cooking up another escape plan, and I want in. Okay, we need a riot. I can do that. Riot!" And he just gets one going like that. And we switch back to Zuko momentarily, and a guard comes in saying, you know, he's there to protect May. Zuko uses the distraction the guard creates to get out and join the others in the prison yard. Having a very amusing conversation with Sokka at this point, because, you know, before last episode, he was telling Sokka, you know, sometimes it's okay not to think out every detail and to act on the fly. So when he gets here and he's like, "Okay, Sokka, how do you plan to get to the warden to kidnap him?" "I hadn't thought that part out." "That's kind of important. But you said, yeah, but sometimes you do have to think things out." It's just kind of funny having them, like, hashing out the subtleties of this whole thing while there's a riot going on. It's, you know, there's, like, the prisoner just goes, "I think your girlfriend's already on it." And Suki's just running across the heads of the crowd, performs some awesome acrobatics to get up to the warden, and then easily takes him prisoner. And as the rest of the group catches up for panting, Sokka's dad expresses exactly what I'm thinking at this point. "That's some girl." And so I was just like, yep. I gotta admit, Suki at this point is my favorite character. I just adore her. I mean, she's strong, smart, a great warrior. She works hard, and she's pretty to boot. And I do like that she has she has such a strong dynamic between her and the other characters. I mean, as I said in her first episode, she's the female character that, taught Sokka the idiocy of his ways, showed him that girls could be just as strong. Which, in a way, I feel led to how later, after the Kyoshi episode, Sokka was a bit more supportive of Katara's waterbending and her desire to become a strong warrior. I cannot overstate how much I think that Suki was important to Sokka's development, and thus why she is my favorite character in this series. The group manages to get safely to the cable car thanks to having the warden as their hostage, but unfortunately Azula and Ty Lee are hot on their tail, and as the group is going up in the cable car, the two of them use their skills, acrobatics and firebending, to catch up with them, and it's really neat. Like, Azula uses her firebending to essentially rocket herself up to the cable car line, and then attach with a pair of handcuffs and basically use it as a zip line. Ty Lee, of course, is just using her usual acrobatics and running along the line. And yeah, and so Zuko, Sokka, and Suki make the top of the car, and it makes for a great fight scene up there as Zuko and Sokka work in tandem to fight Azula, and they work really well together. It's actually a really cool moment. And on the other end, Suki is fighting Ty Lee and holding her own quite well. You can tell that what she's been doing in her cell this entire time has been replaying her previous fight with Ty Lee over and over, and training herself to be better and to beat Ty Lee next time. Her warrior's pride on the line and whatnot. The warden escapes temporarily, ordering his men to cut the line. And there's a couple of his men being like, "But that means he'll fall in the lake." Yeah, he knows. The warden is that, intensely dedicated to making sure no one escapes that he's willing to sacrifice himself. Realizing that the line's about to be cut, Ty Lee and Azula abandon the gondola, leaping to the other one that, thankfully for them at least, happens to be heading the opposite direction. It seems pretty dire at this point, as everyone's trapped on the gondola, and it's about to be sent plunging into the boiling lake. At the last moment, they're saved by a really unlikely source, as May stops the men cutting the line. And, they're like, what are you doing? What the hell? She's like, "I'm saving the jerk who dumped me." As passionate as May seems, she really does love Zuko. And, yeah, it's really cool seeing this, powerful, complex thing being played out on a show that was ostensibly aimed towards a younger audience. So again, I've said this before, but kudos to the writers and the production team. I'm glad you did this. I also love Azula and Ty Lee's reactions. Because it was "What is she doing?" And I was like, eh? Oh, Ty Lee, you're adorable. You're not my favorite, but you are adorable. After the group dumps off the warden, we return to Azula and her girls. Azula is confronting May about her betrayal. And just as Azula is about to kill May, Ty Lee stops her, unwilling to let Azula kill their friend. So Azula sentences them to be arrested and imprisoned somewhere where she'll never see their faces again. That is how mad she is at their betrayal. And you can see that, slowly, Azula's rage and anger is isolating herself from the people who care about her the most. And the episode ends on a teary reunion as Sokka confesses what he was really doing, and Katara is reunited with her father. I do love that the prisoner, I think his name was Ching Sang or something like that, it's just "Hi, I'm new." As, he's the only one of the 3 prisoners that was rescued that isn't known to the group already. And the entire time, because their excuse was we're going fishing for meat, Toph is just sort of standing there going, "So there's no meat?" That kind of made me laugh, and it made the whole scene a little less tear-jerking, I guess. It helped lighten the mood, even though it was pretty light already with how happy Katara was to see and relieved to see her father again. So yeah, this was a great conclusion to the 2-parter. Sokka and Zuko have grown together quite exceptionally. It's awesome to have Suki back in the mix. And it was kind of cool to see, like, Mei and Ty Lee, you know, standing up for themselves against Azula. Not just blindly following what their princess demands, but following their hearts, as it were. I don't know if we'll see Mei and Ty Lee again, but I sure hope so. Anyway, thank y'all for watching, and I'll see you next time.